I'm Anil Kumar. Welcome to my series on sharing some brilliant questions for our middle school students, especially grade 7 and grade 8. The question here relates to squares and square roots. You subtract a power from a square root to get the number 3. Write 5 possible expressions. Prove that your expressions are correct. So that is the exercise you need to do. So the question says that you need to subtract a power, that means something to the power, from a square root. So something like this, square root minus some power, right? So any number and some power, maybe x, right? And the result which you get is equal to 3. You subtract a power, it could be square, cube, whatever, from a square root, something like this, right? Let's say m, to get a number 3. So you have to get a number 3. Write 5 possible expressions in this form and prove that your expressions are correct. So that is the exercise. Now, to give you an idea how we can go about it, something like this. We have to get 3, right? We know that 4 minus 1 is 3. So I could write this 4 as square root of 16, correct? And 1 I could write as 1 square. And when I do square root of 16 minus 1 square, I get 3. Perfect. So that could be my example. So that could be one of my examples. Do you see how we got the number, right? So you have a square root of a number and you're taking away a square to get the number 3. That is what you're supposed to do. And how are you going to prove it? Well, here it is. To prove, you can go back. Square root of 16 is 4. Square of 1 is 1. And when you take away, what you get is 3. That is correct. So likewise, you have to provide now some more examples. So you can actually pause the video now and provide some examples. Okay, here, let's think. How do we get more numbers to get 3 as my result? Should we try with some other square roots? Let us say square root of 10 is 100, but to get 3, no, square root of 100 is 10. That doesn't work, right? So what I found is that there is an easy way to do it. So my easy way is it is kind of easier to find the square of a number. So we'll begin from square of a number. If I write 2 square, right? So 2 square is 4. If 2 square is 4, I want 3, then I want to have 7 here, right? How do I get 7? Well, 7 square is 49. So if I do square root of 49, I should be in a position to get the result. Do you see that? See? 49 square root is 7. 7 minus 4 is equal to 3. Perfect. So I got another result. Does make sense to you? Well, let's try some more. That is interesting. So if I have 3 square, in that case, I want 3 here. 3 square is 9. 9. And I want was 12 square, right? So I want 12 square because I want 12. So 12 square is 144. Okay. So that should work. I think that works. Because this is 12 and 12 minus 9 is 3. So that works. Perfect. So that is how we have got 3 solutions for you. How many can you write now? I think it's very simple. You could write any power here, right? So subtract a power from a square root. That is what it is, right? So any power you could use. For example, I could use power of 3. So if I write 2 cube, which basically is how much? Well, 2 cube is 8, right? So 8. But what I want here is 3, right? I want 3. So how do I get 3? If I take away 8 from 11, I get 3. Now 11 I have to write in a square root. So 11 square is 121. So that works. Do you see that? So now I get 121, which is 11, and taking away 8 gives me 3. So I have another solution right there. Perfect. So likewise, you can see we can actually provide many examples with this strategy. Correct? For example, now if I have 3 to the power of, let's say, 4, and I want the result as 3. Now 3 to the power of 4 is what? 81, right? 3 times 3 is 9, and then it is number 81. So what should I take away 81 from to get 3 as my result? Well, it has to be 84. So that means this number here should be what? Well, it has to be 84 square root. So that is the strategy, right? So you could take away any number in this fashion. You get the idea, right? So this number is 3 more than that number, and the one which goes into square root is square of that number. Right. Correct? So that is how we could actually give many numbers. Correct? Well, the very first example which I gave as 4 minus 1, right, I could have written like this also. I could write square root of 16, which I know is 4, minus 10 to the power of 0. Anything to the power of 0 is just 1, and that is equal to 3, since we know that 16 square root is 4, and anything to the power of 0 is 1, and we know 4 minus 1 is 3. So we get our answer. Do you see that? So we can get many solutions to this question once we understand this strategy. So the strategy is, we need 3, begin with any square number or any power, right? It could be 3 to the power of 4, 2 to the power of 3, or whatever. And take a number which is 3 more than that, square it, and put it under the square root to get your answer. Does make sense to you? Right? So basically, generally what we are doing here is that we are taking a number which is, let us say 8 to the power of x, any number. We want 3 here, correct? So this number here is 3 more than 8 to the power of x, right? So it is 8 to the power of x plus 3 and square root. So if I use this method, I can write infinite combinations to give me 3. Do you see that? So we could use any power and a square root combination to get 3 as the result in such case. Well, I hope you find it interesting. You can now change your game from 3 to 5, 7, 9, whatever, and you can play this with your friends. I hope you find it interesting and useful. Try it out and let me know if you really enjoyed playing the game with powers and square roots. Thanks for your time and all the best.